Hello, I'm Matt and welcome to Badger Workshop. I built this Mitre station not long after finishing the workshop. It's fixed to the wall and that's a bit of a problem. The trouble is, and I've said this before, you never really know how you're going to use the space until you've been in it for a while. So many other people have said, put everything on casters, and they're clearly much wiser than I am. So I've decided to actually take their advice and put this on some wheels. There was a reason for having it attached to the wall. It meant you got as much space underneath it as possible, so I could get the planer thickness under there. But with my new assembly table, it'll fit under there, so I don't need that capacity anymore. So I'm going to make a frame out of some 3x2s. I'm going to make two, one for the top, one for the bottom, and I put some extra supports in the bottom piece. This is some 18mm ply I'm going to rip down for the bottom shelf. The ply goes onto the bottom and I can get it screwed down. For the top one, I'm just going to use the existing Mitre station. I've got this long thin bit of ply. I've been holding on to it thinking I'll use it for something, so this seems a good way of using it up. I can get 4 bits cut out of it to make the legs. Each of the 4 bits can then be taken to the table saw and ripped down. One bit's wider than the other, so that when they're put together in an L shape, they are an equal length. These can now be glued together and held in place with a few screws. With the 4 legs made, I can now start getting it put together. So I just get them positioned into the corner and screws driven through them into the framework. With the 4 legs on, the top frame can now go into place. So I get it slotted in and I get a clamp on one end to help hold it in place, and then I get some screws driven through into it. Now I can get the old stand off the wall. I didn't do this at the beginning, as you saw, I needed the Mitre saw for this build. It's got some battens on the wall and some of these little L brackets that just need taking off. The saw itself is bolted down, so I wanted to try and move it without having to take it off. But this was all quite a lot heavier than I remembered, but I didn't have to go very far with it. The battens can now come off and the space is feeling much lighter in area already. As this new stand is a mismatch of old wood, I thought I'd give it a coat of paint, and I'm using the same paint I painted the exterior of the workshop with. When it was dry, I could get it flipped over and get some casters put on. These are some 50mm casters, and now I have to confess, about 5 days after finishing this, I went back, took these casters off and swapped them out for some 75mm ones, which worked much better. Initially I thought these smaller ones would be fine, but when I actually loaded this up with tools, it got quite heavy and really needed the bigger ones. So now I can get the top put back into place. As I had all the L brackets and screws just sat on the side where they'd come off, I decided just to use them again and put them back on. So that's it all done. Now I can just fill it all up with tools. So one of the problems with the previous design was, if you had a 2.4 metre long length and needed to cut it in half, you couldn't do it on this. As now, I could just wheel it out a bit, or I can turn it around and put it on this back wall, which gives me so much more space. To tie the 2 pieces in, I decided to repaint the front of the drawers in the same grey. And that really is it all done. I think I like this setup much better. It's going to give me more room, and it makes cleaning much easier when you can pull things out. If only I'd put everything on wheels in the first place. That's it all done. Thanks for watching, thanks to my Patreons, and please subscribe for more videos.